Recording in progress.
Good afternoon. Question for Sanya, give a shikar to have the village for in the dust. For the smellers, start children, slow down. Zecher to continue to be marveled with your mind. The story about well, but it's still not, but as they say, the moral of the story is to it's a story about a city with a lot of non-Jews, saying Israel, Christians. Monday, the poet sold, it says that going to be a debate. The city was two sides of a river, the bridge, get together, heads of the community, Jewish community, Christian community, and there will be a debate between a rabbi representing the Jewish community and a priest representing the Christian community. And they're going to ask each other questions. And whoever is the first one to admit that he doesn't know the answer, he would be thrown to the river, and then the community can do whatever they want to the other side. Nobody wanted to volunteer because it comes to fascists to take the job. So one balagola, one house driver, wagon driver, volunteer says, I will go. He said, you don't have much education. He said, I'm sure that I can win the list. He goes after the Jews were fighting and they felt very much in danger. So the priest tells the Jew, you know what? He asked the first question. He says, okay. So Malagola says to him, what does it mean to say, it says in the Torah, Dati. So the priest says, I don't know. Don't know. Going to the river. Wow, brilliant idea. So he came back to the city and they said, it's unbelievable. How did you come up with such an idea? It's a brilliant idea. He said, he knows that for years I've been going and asking around all the rabbanim in town, I asked him, what's the shot in this passing? Every single one of them, and I don't know. So I think if the rabbis don't know, the priest for sure doesn't know. Why am I perceived the difference is because it's always good to have a little difference, especially at times, very serious times. There's a very interesting thing that I realized during the Corona time. For years, it bothered me. I was looking for sources. Where was there a lot? Where did it come from? That when we say Tachnun, at the end of the Tachnun, it says, sit down, from the Minhag, Sparta, Ashkenazim, when they sit down, and then when they say, Va'anachnu lo yineda man aseh, we stand up. So what's the story? I couldn't find the reason for it. That's Melech Yisrael. But then it came to me, could be that the chant is, we daven, on Shmoneh, daven Tachnun, only at the point when we realize Va'anachnu lo yineda man aseh, we push it, don't know what to do. Don't know what to do. That's the moment you can get up and start walking forward. We don't know. We don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know. My Bob is the kind of author and said, sorry, I go and 230 years or so, ancestor lived in Shaarei had a body of the Basil. And she told us a story that made a tremendous impact on me. She said that she lived in Shaarei in the old city years ago, and that one day she went to the shuk in Shaarei, and she had an acquaintance. She didn't know well, but she knew her family. And the lady was so sublime, and she was so broken. And my mom felt very bad. She said, what's in the mind? She was crying. So she told her a lot of stories. So my mom is a very nice lady. She said, what can I tell for them? What can I do for them? She says, no, if she can see game to the person, maybe you can accompany me to the coast. She wants to down, she wants to pull her heart out of the wall. So my mom said, sure, I'll go with it. They went down. My mom thought, one minute, and says, Taylor, we should come back. This lady opened up a Tefillah and she starts davening and crying and davening. It took an hour, now 15 minutes. I'm always like, so they're going to look for me. Where did they get lost? But nice lady, so she waited. So finally, after an hour and a half or so, the lady closes the Tefillah and my book said, no, yes, go home. The lady is not done. She opens up her purse and she takes out a big piece of paper and she starts enumerating. The Rebbeinu Shalom, I have this and this problem. It's fine. And then she gives the Rebbeinu Shalom 12, 13, 14, 15 answers how HaKadosh Baruch Hu can help her of this sorrow. No, takes another 20 minutes, and finally, she takes another thing, and another thing. My body's like losing up, and like, okay. I mean, after 2 hours or so, she finished, and I went back home. Bobby went to the place. Bobby didn't see this lady for about 7-8 months. And then again, in the marketplace, in the shop, Shaarei, she once again bumps into this lady. This lady is jolly, she's happy, she's like a different player. Bobby says to her, just a few months ago, remember when the place to get so and so, and something. Tell me, you look like you're happy. What did they learn? The Rosh answered you. She says, what can I tell you, the Rosh is so good to me. He listened to me. All my tzoros are gone. All my tzoros are gone. But there's one thing which I'm very frustrated about. All these tzoros are gone, but she said, you're frustrated. I gave him so many answers. Not one of them did listen to me. All my tzoros are gone. I gave him so many. So my father used to tell us the anecdote, he says, you have to give him answers. You have to give answers to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He knows what to do. You just stop and ask sincerely from the bottom of your heart. I'm going to share with you a shofar that could help us understand a little bit what do we need to do in order to go through those difficult places. So there is a office, the Gemara says, the Malachim, when he says, so the Torah says, the bishop doesn't play favorites. Doesn't play favorites, and he doesn't take bribes. But you show favoritism to Klal Yisrael, because it says in Birchas Kenim, Yisrael Hashem Paro B'Lecho, v'Yosem L'Vashorim. So you are nice to Israel. It's not fair. You don't keep your own Torah. Must be Israeli Malachim stomach. Strong, pointed questions that there was both. Because both answered, says the Gemara. Well, it says he answered, what are you complaining? I gave Klal Yisrael a mitzvah. You have to, when you eat and you're satiated, you should say, because I'm Muslim. Or for the rice, because I'm Muslim. But you know what they do? I only tell them to say because I'm Muslim, they're satiated, when they're full. But even when they eat a kizayis, like a bayam, whatever the shir is at the time, they already say because I'm Muslim. And how can I not play favoritism towards Klal Yisrael? This Gemara is truly a mystery. Doesn't on the surface doesn't make sense. What did the Rebbe answer? They're the time that you're playing favorites. But Shmuel says, taking bribery. As Shmuel says, it's like somebody says, if somebody gives me $100,000 bribery, and give me $1 million, there's something to talk about. What's that? So whatever it is, it's very important to you. But why is that? Why is that an answer, an excuse to play favoritism towards Klal Yisrael? Didn't answer the question. It's still not fair. Rabbi said there's a tremendous message here combined with the Gemara, Rosh Hashanah Gemara. Rosh Hashanah says, why is it that Klal Yisrael blows shofar twice? Yoshev, why? It's enough to have 9 sounds. Right? Tkio, Tzruo, Tkio 3 times, that's sufficient. Okay, so we have a shofar. Tzruo, Shvorim, do both. Could be it's both for the Shvon. Tkio, Shvorim, Tzruo, Tkio. Say that 30 koiles, 30. It's a lot by comparison to the original mitzvah. We cover all grounds. But why isn't we do it twice before Shemona Esrei on Rosh Hashanah and during Shemona Esrei? Different minhagim doing whatever. We do it twice. Why? Nowadays a minute to do 100 koiles. But why? So the Gemara says, you know what? To mix up the something. Very peculiar Gemara. What does it mean? Well, the something is a shaitan. Well, mix them up. What do you mix up the something? It's a malach. What's the shaitan? Rashi says, the reason why we flow again is mishum chibuvei mitzvah. Chibuvei mitzvah. To show that the mitzvah is not really only obligatory, we do it with simcha. So we want to show up, we love the mitzvah, so we do it twice. So when I saw this, I said, wow, what a beautiful thing. The Rebbe Shalom answered and I'm laughing, wow, what an incredible tshuva, incredible answer. He says to him, Rabbi Shalom, I'm laughing, you're right. You're right. I did say that you're not allowed to take bribery, not to play favorites. It's all true. But do you know what kind of relationship do I have with my kids? Not a relationship of a judge. Because imagine if somebody has a court case with the American government, and the government taxes that he owes $5 million taxes. And it goes on 2 years, finally comes to court, and the judge says, sir, we all decided here after the deliberations that you owe the government $5 million. And the guy gets very upset. And he says, Your Honor, are you serious? Why only $5 million? I want to give $10 million to the country. You dial 911. Remember the guy was he lost it. But what happens, let's say the child, a son and a father, they have businesses, independently wealthy. And then one day, the father calls the son and he says, my dear son, I'm so embarrassed, but you know, my business the last few months are going downhill. And I must have $5 million as a loan for 6 months in order for me not to go bankrupt. And then the son gets upset and says, Daddy, what? $5 million? Why did you wait so long? And why a year and a half ago when you make it out $20 million? No problem. Is it normal? Of course. He's a son. It's a different religion. It says the Rebbe, you know, you're not allowed to take bribery. You're not allowed to play favorites. But that's only in the court of law. In the court of law, a judge is not allowed to. A tati is allowed to play favorites, but he feels it's the right thing to do. He's allowed to take bribery. That's why Chazal say, Yoyred Mekisei Din. But Yosef Mekisei Rachmin. He switches heads. I'm not a judge. I'm a father. Father can do whatever he wants in his house. That's the pshat in Rosh Hashanah also. In Rosh Hashanah, say, below one sort of, La'abim Sassotin. What is La'abim Sassotin? It means that the Sultan comes to the Rebbe and says, Rebbe, you sent me on a mission, I did it, and I gave you a report. And then we turn around and give him life. What's going on? Says the Rebbe, Sultan, my dear Sultan, you were right. Am I right? He says, yeah, you're right. But I asked you to present it in the court of law. In the meantime, Klal Israel is blowing shofar the second time, and they show me that they're not just defendants, they are my kinderlach. And Yoyred Mekisei Din, the Yosef Kisei Rachmin, the Rebbe sits on Kisei Rachmin. So when we are dealing with a Kadosh Baruch Hu, he said, like children, it's a different thing. It's an amazing thing also, by the way, people don't realize sometimes, we say by Kias Yamsuf, it says, the whole one of the Rosh Hashanah, we switch from the base of when Klal Israel jumps into the sea, when Klal Israel says, Nasim and Lishma, is a very big Gemara. The Gemara says like this. The Gemara says, Omar Shuman, Fnei Yenison, Michael Tinkato Vinu, Ki Avrom lo Yadonu, V'Yisrael lo Yakilenu. Ato Hashem Ovinu G'arim lo Yoshmechu. Le'osid lo Ma'as. What does it mean to say, you are our father? Avrom doesn't know us, and Yisrael doesn't recognize us. You are the only Hashem. Le'osid lo Yom HaLakos Gomu L'Avrom. There's both with Avrom Avinu, Bonecho Chotu. Your children had sinned. So on the phone of Avram Avinu answers, they sinned. They deserve to be punished. But there's both who doesn't give up. Omar Eber Legli Yaakov, David Yitzhak Gidul Boni. Eshel, not Yaakov Avinu, Eshel, Ram Tzvos of their children. Omar Le Bonecho Chotu, your children had sinned. Omar Le Phone, Yaakov Avinu answers the same answers. Avram Avinu, Yibeni Shalem, Yimoch Al Dusha Shmecho. What do you mean? How can you do something like this? To be rebel against Hashem, it should be wiped out. Oma, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "Lo b'nesam time of, and lo b'dar keritzo." Neither one of them, the old man, Avraham Avinu, didn't give me what I want, and not the younger one, Yaakov, and also no Yitzchak. Omar Yitzchak, he went to Yitzchak Avinu, the only one who didn't approach it. But your children, your sons have sinned against me. Omar Lefono, says Yitzchak, Ribono shel Olam, bonai v'lo bonecha. Why are you saying it's my children? It's not your children? All of a sudden, you're not their father? I'm their father? B'shor she'ikdimu lefonecha na'aseh v'nishma, k'roso lem b'nei v'choyli. You call them b'nei v'choyli. Achshov bonai v'lo bonecha? Not like, how much did they sin already? A person lives on this earth 70 years or so. The first 20 don't count because they're not fully mature, as the Gemara said. First of all, so you have only 50. Half of it is night. First of all, it's a whole festival. They have to eat and they have to go to the bathroom. First of all, it's only 12 and a half years that you need to judge. If you take it all upon yourself, if not, half and half. You go half and half. I'll take half of the blame, you take half of the blame. That's what Yitzchak said. If you want to say, oh, I can take all of it. Why? I was mocking myself for you. So he says, when I had this conversation between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Yitzchak says, Atov, you are the real father. Omar and Yitzchak, no. In the Katzal HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yitzchak HaKadosh Baruch Hu Beinai, Miyad Moshe Nen Amor Morim, Ato Hashem Avinu B'Yarei Morim Shmeh. Probably Gemara. You don't have the time to analyze it fully, but I would just like to ask a question. This Gemara. Avraham Avinu can be Melamed Zchus. Jacob can be Melamed Zchus. Only Yitzchak. After Yitzchak. Now we say, because God would know that Yitzchak had the answers, he left it for the last. I had a machshava could be in the pshat like this. Avraham Avinu had Yishmael and he had Yitzchak. Yishmael, the Soif Yomov, says, did Shuvah. Some of the Rishonim say that he did such Shuvah that he reached a madrega of Shaarei Meinu, but it says the same nusach of his death, like Shaarei Meinu. So he reached the madrega of Shaarei Meinu. So one of the Rishonim asked, but Shaarei Meinu was a tzaddikus, Chavki Bazayim, and so on and on. He says, yeah, if you got Shuvah Ma'ameh, it's wiped out. There's not so much. And then he says that so Shmuel, even though it says, "We are proud of the children," the whole long Shmuel. Yaakov Avinu had his children were tzaddikim, Shimtei Kol. With the different things that they could have corrected, but they were Shimtei Kol. Yitzchak is the only one with two children, one outside Gomor and one at Rosh Hashanah. He never did shuvah in his life. So the only one of the others had a child who never did shuvah, Esau. He was Melamed Zchus on Esau, even though it was Satan. He gave him the bracha. Yitzchak Loyev says that Rivka is Yaakov. He is the one who understood what does it mean to be a father to a Moshe. Says Yitzchak to the Ben Shalom, yeah, father, but you might for my exclusive. Why? Because I was marketing myself. What does mean marketing myself? I was treating you like that. Did I deserve death? Akedah Sitzro. I didn't. But I did it because I loved you. So I'm a real son. So you can treat my children also like your children. Bonecho, not Bonai. When we ask, what can we do today? I think that the answer is given to us in those Divrei Chazal. The Rebbeinu Shalom, Rachmana Libe Boed. Rachmana Libe Boed. We just said Tehillim, the Koil Ram, as Ramagoris ordered to say Tehillim. And we say Tehillim, the Koil Ram. But it's really a strange thing you think about it. We soon them down Mincha. And Mincha, you're not allowed to down the Koil Ram. That's to be Dafke Barachash. You're not allowed to raise your voice. So what's the chance? What's the right thing to do? It says, Vayitza Kol Hashem, Batzavoim. You scream out. So what's the right thing to do? And the answer is that two chalokim in Avodas Hashem. One is to be loyal the regesh. Vayitza Kol Hashem, Batzavoim, because you feel the emotions. You scream. If you're in pain, you scream. It's important. If you don't feel the pain, that means that you're dead. If somebody is in a coma and your pincher doesn't move and no reflexes, then the doctor knows it's a very bad matter. But if you're hurting, you scream. That's legitimate. That's good. But the ultimate tefillah is belachash. It's privately between me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I have a mono shleimo that if I whisper, even the fellow that is next to me is not supposed to be able to hear me. That's how I love him. Many people don't know it. Right? You're supposed to be whispering manage. It's all between me and you. And I believe when I say it's not when I scream out in the shul Tehillim. It's not when my emotions. It's when I am beside myself and I'm connecting myself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As I said, it says in the Torah that I'm not sure him. So there's much more I want to share with you, but I just a time like that, the Vayitza Kol Hashem Batzar Lohem. So what's the answer to remain alive? We see Nisim with the force. In my Shulchan, the Erev Shabbos, I made the Olam. We said together, Shir Chanukah Savais the David, and Mizmor L'Soido to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the big Nisim that we're going through today. We're not only doubting, we're asking for the people. We have to be appreciative of what happened. Nisim G'dayim. Mamesh, it says, Chazal say that the Nisim that will happen, because the end of the Goddess, the Geula, will be greater than Nisim Yetzias Mitzrayim. And we're just beginning to see Psamashu. It's very learned. But the thing is, Dafke in a time like that, Dafke in a time of danger, Dafke in a time of, and Clavisol is not, a lot of good things, but there's a lot of things which are unfortunately not so good. And if you do Tshuva Ma'abed, that's Parshas HaShavua, Parshas Tzitzis. The mitzvah of Tzitzis is representing Yetzias Mitzrayim. Why? You should say, as Yoshi should say, what's this? So I'm going to say, I'll end with this. This is an incredible thing. That the mitzvah of Tzitzis, the Machlekes, the Gdolei Yisrael, what's the biggest mitzvah? So Greece, it's a say, it's Greece, it's a bit. Or mitzvah Tzitzis. Well, it's definitely one of the biggest mitzvahs. So why is it voluntary mitzvah? It's not a voluntary mitzvah. Because the Iker what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants is a Haber. Baruch Ata Hashem Oyehem V'Amo Yisrael. Greater than all the Malachim that we speak about before. Kol HaPreshmes Ve'Mikdush and Ta'ala. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us. And He wants us to know that He loves us. And when we acknowledge that, that we understand that, that is really what the Mashiach. So somebody once asked me, he says, Rabbi, can you think that our generation will bring the Mashiach? The Chofetz Chaim didn't do it. the Wilden Goyim, the Sfasedes, all the great Jews did not do it. We're going to do it. the smartphone, the internet generation, all this nonsense that's going on. So I told my friend, I want you to know that there's a rule in Chinuch that sometimes people have special needs children, and the parents invest in them a lot. Sometimes the regular children have kindness because they pay attention more. But psychologists will tell you that really the parent bond with the kids who are difficult to raise more than they bond with other kids because they invest in them. The more you invest, the more you love. And Mimele said, who did HaKadosh Baruch Hu invest more? In us or the previous generations? Obviously in us, because it's cumulative, right? It's severe. But besides that, I told them, I think we may be the special needs kids of the village. And they bonded with us more than other generations. And I told them, not in that. Every day you say 3 times a day, Ishvanesle, Umevi Goye Livnei Beneim Leman Shmoi. The Ahab. That's the discussion. Discussion, prophesying, other generations they have more. But who are the children who tell HaKadosh the innocent? I hear stories of people who lost their children in Palestine. The money, the class is the purity, the innocence, the special children. But when a special child says Abba, Ima, it means so much more than a regular kid who naturally can say that. The Virgin loves Klal, he loves to hear us. Technically wants to see that we emotionally are involved. But more importantly, the finish of the lachash to create a personal relationship with no one else's intervention. Speak to us both who are like family. It's for sale noise with Koyin and Shoma. I hope Rosh Hashanah will be able to see all the missing and we'll have a good Hashem and again. Keep up the amazing moves and we do it. It's Poshet Kiddush Hashem. What can I say? Thank you, Lord, my God.